Hello, welcome back everyone. Been a little while since I did a video here. Been busy doing a lot of other things, non-train related. But I just picked this guy up here. It says the brand new BLI AC6000 from the newest run with Smoke. They've done these for a number of years in many variants. Many different paint schemes, most of which aren't even real. They're fantasy schemes, but they try to get as much use out of this tooling as they can. But this is the CSX, so this is one of the original roads that ran this engine and still does. This is something they still currently run. Union Pacific also has them as well. Of course, its claim to fame as being the most powerful, well, second most powerful diesel engine. With a single prime mover anyway, it's the most powerful. The only real engine that to eclipse this as far as horsepower in a diesel is going to be the DD40X. These, I think they're pretty cool in that they're one of the bigger diesels around, one of the most powerful. So that's kind of why I picked it up, and I also wanted to pick up both this one and also the other paint scheme in CSX, the YN2 I think it's called. So I wanted this one and that one. Got a pretty good deal on this one. These typically go for about $230 to $235 and up. If you're doing better than that, that's really good. I happened to snatch this up pretty much at an absolute steal, and I couldn't turn it down. I had pretty high hopes for this engine initially, and we're going to go over some things here with it. And I want to hit on some things that other reviews haven't covered in this engine, which is some of the obvious flaws, or at least pretty obvious to me. And first of which is the light bleed through on the front door. More specifically, also when you hit F2, I have the sound muted right now, but you can see that the door is actually blinking with the ditch lights. So probably easily fixable with some taking the shell off and just pasting a little piece of electrical tape in there. Also, the other thing that sticks out at me is these top grab irons here. These are enormously huge. They probably don't need to stick out that far. I'm pretty sure that's not accurate, but also the other thing is here too. Just looking at the side view here, the little back hatch pops off here. If I can get it off there. There we go. And this is, of course, where you have your smoke switch, which with that's not something I'm ever going to use. But there's some annoying things that are with that sound, or not with the sound, but the smoke unit specifically. Even when you're not using it, they kind of get in the way. Get this thing back on here. There we go. So other than those two things, they're really the only real issues that I've seen as far as the detail on it. One is fixable. These top grab irons here so much. I suppose, you might be able to take those off there, cut them down, shorten them up, and then re-glue them on. I'm not going to go to that kind of trouble. So we're just going to go through the startup here. The other thing, and it doesn't really show too much on camera, is the actual lights. These are very dim. And the headlight actually will brighten a little bit once you start it up. But these are very dull, so I'm probably going to see about ripping those out and putting in some stronger LEDs. I do like how the number boards are lit. I think that's a pretty good brightness for those. I just wish that the others here were just a tad brighter. So we'll go ahead and start it up here. The first part is actually they're trying to simulate somebody walking on ballast and then getting into the engine. I'm not really a fan of it. I wish that they would have just had the engine starting up just that part, or if at least they went to the trouble of putting in the person walking on the ballast, maybe put in a CV where you can trigger that off if you don't want that. Or maybe just two different start sequences, maybe one being a short and then another being a long. Just a thought. But here it goes. And I actually found that turning up the volumes on all these kind of made it sound a little bit better, especially the horn. The other thing that's a little bit annoying here, and you may have a hard time hearing it, is that the fan unit for the smoke is actually still going even though the smoke is off. So that's kind of annoying that that actually plays in the background pretty much all the time. And then the prime mover itself is pretty plain. And if you hear that little buzzing, it's actually not the motor. Another cool thing is it actually does sense load. And I'm just going to go through the shutdown here. So that little person walking there at the end was, I guess, the person walking out of the engine. So the next thing I'm going to do here is just going to be a little Tug of War with an MTH Gevo. If I was a betting man, I'm going to go with the MTH, but we'll see how this turns out here. Alright, here we go. I have a feeling this is going to be a bloodbath, but we'll see how it turns out here. So we're just going to give the AC6000 a little bit of a head start. Go to 2 speed steps. Oh, going the wrong direction. Okay, there we go. So it is actually able to drag it, so let's turn up the MTH here. Oh, getting too close to the edge here. Better back it up. Well, the AC6000 is at least able to move the MTH. Wow. Look at that. MTH is at speed step 5. Can't even move the AC6000. Had to turn it up to about half throttle there to even get it to budge. Well, there you go. AC6000 has soundly defeated the AC, or actually not the AC, but the MTH ES44 in a Tug of War. Did not expect that. So good job to BLI for that. That's pretty impressive, especially seeing as how the AC6000 doesn't seem to weigh quite as much as what the MTH does. Maybe it's due to the wheelbase being a little bit longer, so maybe a little bit better weight distribution. But pretty impressive on that part of it. So I'll take this off here now. But again, finally on this one here, not quite everything I hoped for. Some things are fixable on this one. Pretty much, I mean, it's kind of the only way if you're looking for an AC6000. There's really nobody else that makes one except for Overland. So that's really your only choices there. So Broadway Limited kind of has the market a little bit cornered on the AC6000. And versus, an Overland, that's going to be probably close to $600. So I think it's pretty much a no-brainer. Just be aware that if you do get one of these, I don't exactly consider myself a rivet counter when it comes to detail, but there are some obvious things that stick out to me, so there's probably also some things that for the more detail-oriented crowd probably even stick out a little bit more. Other than that, just that part of it, the sound is pretty underwhelming. The horn isn't too bad, that's pretty nice. Not sure how completely accurate that part is, but the prime mover is pretty dull. Sounds a lot like the QSI from about 10 years ago. Really not very evolved too much. You may want to compare this versus some actual clips of an AC6000. I think you'll see a pretty big difference there as far as the actual sound, but nobody really has come up with a decoder that accurately represents the AC6000, which is a little bit different than your AC4400s and some of the other 16-cylinder GE engines out there. Using the FDL16. This used a prime mover called the HDL16. A little bit different, but Broadway to this point has really been the only one that's even tried to do that prime mover, but this is not really specific. It's the same generic thing that they seem to have in many of their engines, and not too much different than what they used to have in your Paragon 1s and your Blue Lines. Kind of all sounds the same. So take it for what it is. But overall, I'm moderately happy for it. I expected just a tad more. So that's pretty much it for this video. There'll be some more things upcoming. Still going some things with some MTH stuff, and probably getting some of their Dash 9s when they come out here shortly. And I'll do some videos on those when I get them. So that's it for this one.